Hello everyone, Bill Parish here from GTT Audio, and welcome to the channel today. Well, I missed an episode, and sorry about that, we'll make that up. But then at the beginning of the year, we did do 3 in a row in 3 weeks, so we're probably actually on track. Just been so busy. One thing that we've been extremely busy with were all the Kabbalah Sosna upgrades on the digital side, with the going from Elation AES EBU to the introduction of the new Realization AES EBU. And I think everyone that has received it has gone on and on and on about what a very positive review upgrade that was. So those that have done it, appreciate it. Those that haven't, you should. And, you will not be disappointed, that's for sure. And then there was many people took advantage of, which is all of this is still going on. There was no time limit to any of this, but took advantage of the LAN cable that we're doing, the internal GRIM LAN cable, and then also Kabbalah Sosna did LAN cables, for out of the wall or out of a switch into units as well. So all that's kept us very busy. Overwhelming response on that, so thank you. I was hoping by this time I would have the master fidelity components, the NADAC D and NADAC C. Actually, NADAC C is due to be shipping probably this week, and NADAC D next week. So by the time we do the next episode, I will have probably had a chance for a good listen. Today, I want to talk about loudness wars, and if you don't know what that is, you should go Google it. Google it, DuckDuckGo it, whatever you use for your, Yahoo it. Do a web search on loudness wars, read about it. If you're into audio, you should know about it. But what I want to talk about is, and I've touched on it before a little bit in a previous episode, but about riding the volume control when you're listening. And, and just different volumes in general. If you're sitting there riding the volume control so everything is the same volume, what you're doing is you're compressing dynamics. And, that's what loudness wars are all about not having any dynamic music. And you're supposed to have dynamic music. Now, with Roon, I love Roon for many reasons, and one of the reasons is when I look in my library and I'm looking at an album cover, it gives me the dynamic range. And if yours doesn't, then go, look under the general tab, and there's places that you can click to find that. But anyway, on the album cover, when you're searching, you will see the dynamic range of that album. Well, you look at a lot of pop stuff, and it has a dynamic range of 6, of 7. And that's what the dynamic range is, for those that don't know or are a little confused. It's from the quietest note to the loudest note. And so if a dynamic range is 7, that's 7 dB in between. Now, just so you know as well, just to achieve 3 dB, you have to double the power. So that also lets you know about, your amplifier and how loud you're playing, if your amplifier can handle it, and what, if you're going to be clipping. So anyway, 7 is, I would say, the average for pop and rock today. And that's horrible. That's horrible, and it's all due to loudness wars. And what recording engineers and mixing engineers do, mastering engineers, and they sit there and they use compressors on the top to bring everything down into that single plane of 7 dB. I listen to some classical music pieces, and it's has a dynamic range of 24 dB, 19 dB. Anyway, significantly more than what pop and rock is. But that's from the quietest note to the loudest crescendo. Now, so you got to pay attention when you listen, and think about this when you listen, because the quietest note was not intended to be as loud as the crescendo. But I know many people, I do demos all week long, and so I see a lot of people and I listen with a lot of people. And of course, there's some very astute listeners, and then there's some that aren't. And then there's some that want to sit there with the volume control and write it up and down. And it's not the proper way to do it. It's not the way that the artist intended you to hear it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had a dynamic range like that. It's not the way that the conductor and the orchestra played it, and directed it. They want you to hear the quietest note is quiet. They want you to hear the loudest note is loud. And if you're listening, and you find on those loudest notes you've got to turn it down, well, then you've got the volume too loud for the quietest note. But in no way should you be taking these quiet notes and bringing that there, and then when these go up, you bring them down, and then, and why are you even listening at that point? At that point, all what you're doing is playing with the, with the volume control. And you're really not sitting in your chair, in your listening room, being a mastering engineer. I don't think that's the goal. I don't think that would be someone's goal. I do remember, back in the days, in the 90s, of the cello audio palette, and it was a EQ that you could dial some stuff in, and I knew people that had that, and on every album they had some notes, and well, that's fine, but you do that once, right? It's not as bad as this volume control. Obviously, it's a pet peeve of mine, but I want to make you aware of that as well. I even know some dealers that, aware of some dealers that do it, and, I would say they would be fine to buy equipment from, but certainly not to be your guide. If a dealer's doing that, find another guide, because they don't know what they're doing. And there's some manufacturers at shows that do it, and, well, some of them are playing with you, and trying to ride the volume and goose things on purpose to show an A-B comparison if they're sitting there doing a dog and pony show at a trade show. And then there's others that just simply don't know what they're doing. But you're supposed to find the proper volume, and you're supposed to sit back and enjoy it the way that the composer wrote it, the way that the conductor directed it, and the way that the orchestra played it back. Or, but this can be said about jazz and pop and rock. Now, there's a lot on loudness wars online, and people are aware of it, and you want to, many people, are on a crusade to get rid of it, because dynamics is a good thing. We're supposed to like dynamics, not get rid of dynamics and everything just be at the same level. But I believe this started, at least it's my belief, this is car stereo stuff. This is what, because you've already got an 80 dB noise floor as you're driving down the road, so everything's got to play loud. And, this is where, the mastering engineers EQ everything for car stereo. Oh my, that's not the way to do it. So again, if you're one that's right, this is going to be a quick video. If you're one that rides the volume control, try to do it without it and watch it be more enjoyable. Listen to when a quiet passage scales and gets big and hits that crescendo. Listen to the swell of the music. I think it's phenomenal. I mean, this is true dynamics, listening to the real dynamic range, and not a dynamic range that is, well, there's nothing you can do about it if that's the way the mastering engineer did it on some of these pop recordings. But if you are on Roon and you see that something has 12 or 15 dynamic range or better, I mean, now you can really start to enjoy the music go up and down. And be careful not to ride that volume up on those quiet passages, because chances if you're riding those volumes up, see, that's the problem. If you have a recording with real dynamic range and you bring the lower passages up, like I said, every 3 dB of gain, you have to double the power on your amplifier. And so you're going to run out of headroom in that amp, and your speakers probably can't handle it. So therefore, you're forced to bring the top end, the crescendo, down. And you're just sitting there fighting the music the way it was intended to be listened to the entire time. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a fun way to listen to an album. Maybe it is. Well, I'm going to shut up now, get out of here. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and hopefully be able to report to you on the master fidelity. Have a great time.